folks. So I'm making this one because I realized that I have done a video on yogurt and one on mozzarella, but I have not done one on butter. Butter is another thing that I do from the milk that our goats produce. This is actually the end product. And this is the butter right here. This is one of the larger containers and it is frozen. I freeze. I'm getting ready to make another batch, so I have to clean the containers, but I freeze them in these large chunks for long-term storage. During the production season, I also freeze them in these smaller containers right here that are a little bit easier for us to access, but for deep storage, I use these bigger ones. Inexpensive things from your local Dollar Tree or somewhere else, wherever you can get it cheaply. Anyway, I'm showing you the end because they freeze for several days, and then I wrap them up in wax paper or freezer paper, whatever I've got. Wrap them up like this and tape them, and then I put them in a freezer bag and put them in the freezer, and they will keep for a couple of years, and take out one when you need them when the goats are not producing. Anyway, when I next make milk, I will make butter. I will film that so you can see how I do the butter. Selena has agreed to film this because I can't get this on my own, okay? What I'm showing you is how I get the cream off the top of the milk. We cool the milk always because it tastes better. And then I use this to separate it from the side.
Because you have to vent it.
Yeah,
that's why you need the big bowl. It lets all the nasty, the smells and stuff out.
Okay. And then this is the cream right here. Can you see that? How it's gathering on the top? Okay, and then I just use 2 spatulas. I collect it. And I put it over in this container. And I fill this and a little bit more. And that's what I will turn into butter. Just make sure I get it all. And that's all there is to it.
That's all there is to it.
Thank you very much, Selena. The next step is to actually churn or whip or process the cream that you've pulled off of your milk. I have approximately a quart of cream here. That's how much I generally collect in the time until my container's full. So it's about a quart. You can have more or less, it doesn't matter. I processed as little as a cup, so it's up to you. But the measurements and things I'll talk about are based on this amount, okay? So it's cold. I keep it cold until I'm ready to do it. I found that it does better. If it's warm, it doesn't want to set up as butter, which is a problem. We're trying to do butter, right? So, yeah, that might be a little help. Anyway, I've tried many different things. When I first started doing this, I just kept it in a pint jar, and when I had about a half pint or a little more, I would shake it, you know, like those old shaker weight thingies. I'd just shake it until the whey separated from the cream, from the butter, and I was able to condense it down. And then I noticed on one of Selena's cooking shows, she calls it cooking porn, that the contestants, when they got busy or didn't pay attention, would sometimes over churn their cream or their ice cream or something else, and I thought, wait a minute, they're doing that often with plain old beaters. And so that's what I started using. This makes it so easy. All you do is put it in here and beat it. Now I'm not going to show you the whole process because, yeah, it gets a little bit boring. So I'm going to get started. Besides, it's noisy, right? One thing I forget to mention, it is important, excuse me, it is important anytime you're doing something like this to have a bowl that's deep enough that it can be fairly tall on your beaters, and that you don't have to do a whole lot of stirring around in. Alright, do you see that consistency? If any of you have ever done old-fashioned whipped cream using heavy whipping cream, this is what you end up with. This is the stage at which, if you wanted to use it for whipped cream, we would add a little bit of sugar and a little bit of vanilla. Not everybody likes it that way, but if that's what you want, this is when you would add it. If you go any further, you're going to have butter, and of course that's my intent. Can you hear the difference in the beaters? That they sound different because it's so heavy. At this point, it's so stuck up on the sides that I have to actually put it down, which is not surprising. So you just scrape your bowl, and you can tell this is no longer whipped cream, right? This has at this point has a very slight buttery taste. And if you want a very light whipped butter that isn't really a seriously buttery taste but will work that way, will work like butter, you could add salt now or just put it in a container at this point, and it's a little more spreadable. It doesn't get as hard as it does when it's plain butter, but you'll see what comes out of this if you leave it. You may not want the whey and stuff in it. Anyway, I'll show you. Okay, you notice that it basically came away clean. That's because it's beginning to clump up into butter. I don't know if you can see or not, but do you see the whey down there? In order to keep beating it, I have to get rid of some of that. I usually just pour this down into the sink because our animals get an awful lot of whey, but so I don't try to save this normally, but I want to show you what I do. So I kind of pull the butter back, the curds back, and just pour the whey down through a fine sieve. I keep pulling it back. I will have to do this again. And I know you can't see it, but I have over a half a cup of whey already. All right. Turn some more. You have to reduce the speed. Okay. Put off the beaters. And do this again. Once it starts making butter, it really doesn't take that long. See the consistency now? It's just almost solid. Okay, now at this point, when I have a solid clump of butter, at this point, it's ready to be put up. If you don't want any salt in your butter, this is when you would put it in containers. We like our butter salty. So at this point, I add salt. We use Himalayan salt. This is the pink Sherpa salt. And this is about 2 teaspoons for this much butter. Okay? I just sprinkle it on there. And then I beat it in until it's completely done. And then I'm going to pour off some more whey. Okay. Actually, there's not much whey this time, so that's awesome. I'm not even going to try to pour any more off. Sometimes you get a whole lot more than that, but not this time. It's awesome. So the next step is to put it into containers, and I'll show you how I do that. At some point in this video, and I'm not sure how I'm going to assemble it, so I can't really tell you, you'll see the larger containers that I freeze it in for deep storage. These are the containers that I use when I'm putting it together, just to be frozen long enough for us to pull it out and use it on a daily basis. It's not very big at all. I've measured it before. I think it's not quite 1/3 of a cup. It's almost. So 3 of these would be a cup of butter. About that. Anyway, all I do is use a spatula and push it down in there. Try to get rid of as much air as possible. Since there's not a lot of liquid in this, it's not going to expand much when it freezes, so you don't have to worry about getting it too full. Now you notice, you may have seen some whey still dripping out of there. That's why I'm doing this over the bowl. Okay, when it's full, I put on a little lid, like that, and I will show you at the end of this where I stack all of these. Other than that, I'm just going to be filling them, so I'm not going to show you more of that. Thank you for watching. Okay, I wanted to show you real quick. I have about a cup of whey, a little more than a cup of whey actually. So out of about a quart, a little over a quart, a cup of that was liquid that I got rid of it. And the rest of it is butter. And I got a little over 2 cups of butter, about 2.5 cups of butter, because those are not really 1/3 of a cup. And there was a little bit more butter that I ended up putting in the container we're using right now because there was just a little bit more. So where do these go? Well, we have one in the refrigerator right now, so we don't need one out. So these go right here in the freezer in the front, and they freeze for a long time. And we pull one out at a time. That's how we use our butter.